valedictorian, led by the Chief Marshal, Philip Cleary, are the members of the Chancellor's Cabinet, the Dean of the Law School, Eric Schmidt, honored commencement speaker, Morris Dees, UMass trustees, Edward Collins and Mary Burns, Chief Marshal Philip Cleary is carrying the university mace, followed by the Dean of the Law School, Eric Mitnick, honored commencement speaker, Morris Dees, UMass trustees, Edward Collins and Mary Burns, the University of Massachusetts System President, Martin Mian, Provost Kareem, and the Interim Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, Dr. Randy Helm. Please remain standing for our national anthem, which will be sung this morning by Rebecca Lacoste, a member of the graduating class of 2017.
Twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
President Mian, Chancellor Helms, guests and friends of the university, and graduates of the class of 2017. In a Chicago courtroom in 1924, Clarence Darrow, as a defense attorney in the case of the State versus Loeb and Leopold, pleading for the lives of his clients, was heard to say, I hope I've done something to help human understanding, to temper justice with mercy, and to overcome hate with love. It's our hope and prayer here this morning, O God, on this occasion, that these graduates will use their education to do something that will help in human understanding that reveals an America that is not just a power, but through them there will be a promise in supporting principles for which our nation stands in defense of its liberties. For liberty is only possible by doing what is allowed by the law. It is our prayer, O God, that these graduates will perform their duties in defense of your moral and just laws, for as the scripture says, the law is spiritual. Empower these graduates, O God, to bridge that justice gap for those in need of legal advice. May they believe with Paul Shepherd that there is a secret person undamaged in every individual. And with that understanding, our professional roles allow us to give hope to the hopeless and help to the helpless. Help us to understand and submit our performance as lawyers for a better world as we come in thought and prayer to an eternal judge who observes our belief with the great jurist Oliver Wendell Holmes when he writes that the sacredness of human life is a formula that is good only inside a system of the law. So open our minds and our hearts here today, O God, that tempering justice with mercy, as Darrow suggests, we may all benefit in the concept that encourages us to see that the ultimate goal in life is making the welfare of all the supreme law of the land. May these graduates never rest a case until all possibilities are explored that brings justice and satisfaction to a world that through their knowledge and commitment, it can become a better place for hope, peace, and love, in a place where lives can be transformed with purpose and meaning. In his name, peace, shalom, and amen.
Thank you, Reverend Lawrence. Members of the class of 2017, faculty, staff, and honored guests, it is my pleasure to introduce the Interim Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, Dr. Randy Helm.
Good morning. Please be seated. I don't think there is a commencement speaker in the land who doesn't comment on the irony of using the word commencement beginning for something that graduates often perceive as an end. It's a cliche. So I'm not going to do that because I think you all understand that what you are commencing today is a new chapter in an important struggle. And I don't just mean preparation for the bar exam. It's a struggle that is fundamental to our society, to our democracy, the struggle to provide access to justice. That is what our law school is about. That is what you are about. And it has never, in my lifetime, in our country, been more important. Justice has never been more under siege. And those who follow the law and who give the powerless access to justice have never been more badly needed. So I am delighted that we are sending out more of you to do good work in the world. But we can't do that unless I formally open this ceremony, which is what I'm going to do now, by receiving from the Chief Marshal, Professor Philip Cleary, the University Mace, which is the official and traditional symbol of the university. Now, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Massachusetts, I declare these exercises to be officially open. Here's something you already know, but let's take a moment to acknowledge it. You didn't get here completely on your own. Yeah, you've worked really hard, and you deserve to be celebrated today. But let's take a moment to thank that support system that helped you get here. Friends, employers, families, both immediate and extended friends, mentors, all those who have loved you, endured you, believed in you, and encouraged you as you pursued your law degree. Let's stand and give them a round of applause. Thank you. You can sit down again. Now I want all of our faculty and staff to stand up. You understand better than anyone here the excellence of the faculty, their expertise, their commitment to you, to the law, to research and learning and imparting their experience and their wisdom. The fact that they fully embrace their obligation to strengthen the community around them. In our collective pursuit of justice, they inspire, they enable, they empower. But here's something you may not know about the faculty. They are inspired by you. I have heard over and over again from members of our law school faculty how impressed they are with your ability to overcome the challenges and hurdles that many of you face in pursuit of this degree, and your own dedication to the idea of justice, your willingness to help each other. And so I hope that in a moment, you will thank the faculty and also the staff, because they work very hard to make sure you succeed as well. They may feed you, they may protect you, they may keep the lights on or make sure the library has what you need. They may offer you counseling in tough times. They work hard to sustain an environment that is conducive to learning. And they take great pride in your accomplishments today, too. Don't forget that. So I hope you will give all of our faculty and staff a round of applause, because they have been pulling for you, too. I never tell the faculty what to do, but if you want to sit, you can sit. I said a few moments ago that we live in perilous times, times where justice may seem at some moments to be under siege. And yet, I'm an optimist because I have gotten to know some of you, and I've gotten to know your faculty. It might be easy for me as I prepare to retire again and leave UMass Dartmouth to think, well, whatever, it will be what it will be, and to perhaps resign myself to the fact that we live in tough times. The economy is hard. Politics is hard. We seem to be gridlocked, but I don't feel that way because of you. Because I have great confidence in your commitment to making your communities, your society, your world better through justice. There are many ways to improve society, but justice is the foundation, and you will be part of that. I have come to know in my time here students who have overcome incredible odds. I've come to know faculty who are unbelievable researchers that are deeply committed not just to creating some sort of abstruse knowledge that might end up on a library shelf somewhere, but we're committed to creating knowledge that solves problems and improves the quality of life for people both close to home and far away. That's in the law school, in the graduate school, and in the undergraduate. I've come to know a community in this area that takes great pride in its heritage and that has an unusual, extraordinary ability to persevere in the face of challenges. I've come to know you, the students, remarkable, brilliant, optimistic, hardworking, who are determined to get the most out of this educational opportunity. You are breaking down the very stubborn barriers between genders and races and religions every day. You are part of a UMass Dartmouth community that performs more than 240,000 hours of community service every year. You are our hope, and we're very, very proud of you. Now, a great university campus requires strong leadership at all levels, and I'm now going to ask the president of the Law School Alumni Association, Herb Cuseco, JD, class of '89, to stand and be recognized. I also want to acknowledge Bristol County District Attorney Tom Quinn, who is here. Tom, where are you? We also have other distinguished visitors with us today. The trustees of the university who volunteer their time, their resources and talent so the University of Massachusetts can flourish. I'd like to acknowledge Trustee Mary Burns, and ask Edward W. Collins, Jr., Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, to come to the podium.
Thank you, Chancellor. Chancellor Helm, President Mian, Provost Karam, Dean Mitnick, members of the faculty, honorees, distinguished guests, friends, family, and members of the class of 2017. On behalf of the University of Massachusetts Board of Trustees, I welcome you all to today's celebration and bring you the greetings from the board, which is the governing body of the UMass system. In many ways, our board's efforts throughout the year are focused on this day, as we believe in the transformative power of public higher education. We believe in the University of Massachusetts, and we believe in you, and in what you're going to do to make our communities, our Commonwealth, and the world a better place. I'm incredibly proud to celebrate with you today, especially because I had the distinct honor of voting to establish the UMass School of Law as a trustee in 2009. We at the university were determined to create this law school because we understood the critical need for lawyers like you, for lawyers dedicated to advancing the cause of justice, working for the public good, and ensuring that the fundamental right to legal representation is available to all, regardless of means. Today, we commend the determination and discipline involved in this endeavor. We acknowledge the sacrifices that you have made to get here and the critical support you received from family and friends to arrive at this proud moment. And we applaud your accomplishment. You leave with a world-class legal education, and we have every confidence that it has prepared you well for your career. The Board of Trustees is as proud of you as you are, and the graduating class of UMass Law School graduates as the first class from a fully accredited ABA law school. We hope that many of you will choose to practice in Massachusetts, and if you do, our Commonwealth will be richer as a result and will benefit many times over from the investment it has made in you and in this great university. Congratulations and best wishes on all that you do.
Thank you, Trustee Collins. The University of Massachusetts Dartmouth may be the smallest of the UMass campuses, except for the medical school, in numbers of students, but its impact is immense. And we benefit from being part of a 5-campus statewide university. So, I am pleased to welcome the president of that university, of our University of Massachusetts, President Martin Mian.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Helm, to the Provost, Karim, Dean Mitnick, the trustees that are here, Mary Burns, and Ed Collins, to our honored guests, to our distinguished faculty, our world-class faculty here at the University of Massachusetts School of Law, to family and friends, and most of all, to the graduates of this law school, the first graduates to graduate from an ABA-accredited law school, the class of 2017. Congratulations to you. Now, comments have been made about we're in difficult times and we need great lawyers now more than ever. But if you step back and think of the history of our country, and you think of those periods of time where we needed people to do something really positive for justice, for social change, for making sure that everyone had an equal opportunity for success, most of the time it hasn't been change coming from the 50 state legislatures across the country, and it usually, that social justice isn't coming from Washington and the Congress of the United States. No, if you look at the great periods of change in this country and the great things that have happened, more often than not, it was the lawyer, skilled, trained, passionate, committed to doing the right thing. The lawyer, prepared to use the justice system to make a difference. The lawyer has really made the outstanding changes when needed. The ability of a boy or girl in the United States to go to a school and get an education that is equal to the education that anyone would get anyplace else in the country. Or a person of color that wants to attend a college or university of their choice. Or when people were maimed or killed by defective products, it wasn't legislatures that made the changes. It is the lawyer, committed and skilled and passionate to make a difference for justice. And even today, the same is true. We had 2 faculty members from UMass Dartmouth, training engineers to come into this state and be productive, to push the economy forward. And when a president issued an order saying that those folks who will leave the country should be detained, it was a highly skilled immigration lawyer, who, by the way, was a UMass undergraduate, who those professors relied on to go into a court and to allow them not to be detained at Logan Airport. This law school is focused on justice and making a difference, social justice. The idea of this public law school is so we can actually graduate lawyers who aren't saddled with the enormous debt that every other private law school in the state that you attend has. So I would urge members of this class, you have an awesome responsibility, and this country has always relied on the highly skilled, passionate lawyer to make a difference in the lives of everyone. And that's a responsibility that you have. And I am confident the quality education you've gotten will allow you to achieve whatever you set out to achieve in your life. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Mian. You're about to become alumni, so let's extend a special welcome to all the UMass alumni who are either on stage or here in the audience. And if you all would please rise, and we'll give you a round of applause too. Now I'd like to invite your Dean of the Law School, Eric Mitnick, to offer his greetings.
Hello, UMass Law Class of 2017. It is a genuine privilege to be with you here today. I am struck by how well I've come to know so many of you individually. For the evening division students, I've gotten to know most of you through various co-curricular events and activities. For the day division students, of course, we have been on this journey together since day one. We started at UMass Law together. I have been your dean and your associate dean, but of course our relationship goes much deeper than that, because we also experienced first-year torts together. Yes, it's rare that torts gets applause, but we'll take it. And you know, it is true what the Chancellor said a minute ago. People think that teachers inspire students, and maybe on a good day. But I can tell you, my students, that you have inspired me every day of the last 3 years that you've been here. And so this is a special day indeed. In about an hour, you will walk out of this auditorium having received a Juris Doctor degree, and in that moment, you will have joined one of the most sacred traditions our nation has to offer, the tradition of serving the public as a champion of justice. You will call your JD degree a law degree, but it really is something different than that. It's something more than that. Let me tell you what your degree really means. The word juris is based on the Latin word jus, or as Professor Cleary told me in Latin, jus, which of course is the root of the English word justice. Now, when the Latins or the Romans wanted to refer to law in the sense of a rule, they used a different word, lex, L-E-X. Jus was the word they used to refer to law in the sense of what is the best rule, what is right, what is just. So the Juris Doctor degree we confer on you today acknowledges not just your mastery of a system of laws or rules, but explicitly and on a deeper level, your professional commitment to the pursuit of justice. Thus, our law school's motto, pursue justice. The Juris Doctor is not just a law degree, it is also a justice degree. Now, as you leave here today and as you move through the world with your Juris Doctor degree, you become a member of a learned and noble profession. Liberty, equality, fairness, justice, these are the commitments of our profession, and there is no more honorable calling than that. Now, my students, as we sit here today, we cannot know what each of you will accomplish or what you will encounter. But if you can do these things, if you can face with courage and curiosity your place in the world, if you can build community with true friends and genuine colleagues, if you can make children laugh and outsiders feel welcome, if you can approach your work each day with the passion that comes from genuine conviction, if you can respect and be guided by your craft, your knowledge, your wisdom, and if you can keep fresh and honor the dreams that have inspired you to this point, If you can do these things, your journey will be a noble one, and you will make a story worth telling. Now, it is my privilege to introduce your student speaker and my torts student, Sheila Lures. Sheila is a Brooklyn, New York native who earned her bachelor's degree in criminology from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Ms. Lures dedicated her high school and college years to serving her local community as a youth leader and liaison within the Haitian American communities of 5 states and as an HIV prevention peer educator. Born to 2 Haitian immigrants who instilled in her the importance of education, Sheila worked as a business control assistant at Nordea Bank and was encouraged to attend law school by her supervisor. In 2014, Ms. Lures made the decision to leave New York to attend UMass Law as a full-time student. Her studies led her to develop an interest in international and human rights law and strengthened her commitment to serve disenfranchised communities locally and overseas. After sitting and passing the New York bar examination this summer, Ms. Lures will be providing pro bono legal services to marginalized groups in Cape Town, South Africa. Please welcome your 2017 student commencement speaker, Sheila Lures.
Thank you, Dean Mitnick. Good morning, Trustees Burns and Collins, President Mian, Chancellor Helm, Provost Kareem, Attorney Dees, Dean Mitnick, faculty, staff, families, and friends. Good morning, class of 2017. During the last 3 years, we have had numerous opportunities to share with people what it means to be a student at UMass Law. By now, we have all given the usual spiel about attending the only public law school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We've made our best efforts to explain to prospective students our preference for this tight-knit community. Even in our personal statements for admission, we described our sincere desires to attend a law school that would train us to become public interest lawyers. We have been transformed by this legal education, and so today, our response is different. For some of us, being a student at UMass Law meant moving away from our friends and families to gain new ones. Like any large family, we did not agree on everything. However, our differences in culture, age, beliefs, as well as our personal and professional experiences led to robust conversations and fiery discourse that would surely have kept Justice Scalia on his toes. We learned from each other, and we grew because of one another. Of course, nothing can compare to the love and support of our own families and friends. Thank you for joining us in this pursuit of justice. Thank you for believing in us when we often doubted ourselves. Thank you for cooking dinner for us when Jimmy's Pizza became unbearable, and eating Chartwell's Catering again was not always a desired option. Attending UMass Law meant being a name and not a number, which also meant you would be greeted by Dean Clough on the first day of classes, while you struggled to remember which Spencer he was. It meant scheduling to meet with Professor Pelt-Steele, whose class you had never taken, on a Saturday afternoon, because that was the only time you would be able to pick his brain about an interest in international law. It also meant having constant stress and anxiety about being cold called by Professor Clifford, or Dean Mitnick, who made cold calling not so cold. To the faculty, administration, and staff of UMass Law, we cannot thank you enough for investing in each of our futures. Oftentimes, your offices became the site for one-on-one tutoring, and your inboxes were the breeding ground for encouragement and new professional opportunities. You never turned us away, not once, and for that, we are grateful. We leave here today confident in our ability to be the best advocates, the best drafters, the best counselors, and the best human beings, because you taught us to be just that. Today, what it means to be a student at UMass Law requires a different response. Our response is different not because we are no longer students. Rather, our posture has changed. Our postures have changed from gripping the podium before a hot bench for legal skills 2 oral arguments, to now grabbing the reins of not just our destiny, but that of our future clients. Our fears of being cold called are now a thing of the past. They seem menial and contradictory to our bellowing cries against injustice and the Flint water crisis, against the denial of entry of our immigrant brothers and sisters, against gender inequality and the wage gap, against the defunding of programs that help feed our children in schools, against mass incarceration and a bail system that denies the poor access to justice. We are different. We are now the detours that will disrupt and dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline. We are now the drafters whose ink will blot out the damaging effects of pollution on our environment. We are the advocates who will stand in the gap and fight for our neighbors who cannot afford the health care they desperately need in order to live. As graduates of UMass Law, our positions have shifted from individuals who were taught to pursue justice to now being that access to justice. We are the ones who will help turn this world right side up. We are the proud graduates of the University of Massachusetts School of Law. While commencement ceremonies typically signify the beginning of a new journey, as the first graduating class of the first and only fully accredited public law school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, today we pause to celebrate the certain continuation of our work in bringing justice to our communities, to our nation, and to this world. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Nailed it. Thank you, Sheila. It's now our great pleasure to confer the highest recognition that can be given by our university, an honorary degree. Honorary degrees are awarded in higher education to recognize outstanding individuals whose lives and whose body of work exemplify the values that we cherish. This recognition is meant not just to honor the individual, but to hold them up as an example for you of what you might accomplish in your lifetime. Would Dean Mitnick please escort Morris Dees, founder and chief legal counsel of the Southern Poverty Law Center, to the front of the stage? And will Provost Mohammed Karim please come to the podium for the reading of the honorary degree citation?
Morris Dees, morally courageous co-founder and chief trial attorney of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Throughout your enormously productive career, you have been a lion-hearted warrior for human rights and social justice. From early days to the present, your life has encompassed a remarkable diversity of interests and achievements. As an undergraduate at the University of Alabama, you founded a nationwide direct mail sales company specializing in book publishing. The business grew into one of the largest publishing companies in the South and ultimately earned you a place in the Direct Marketing Association Hall of Fame. Using your marketing skills, you raised money for civil rights activities and revolutionized political fundraising, serving as the finance director for the campaigns of both George McGovern and President Jimmy Carter. Soon after opening your law practice in 1960, you began winning civil rights cases that helped integrate government and public institutions. You did so with the groundbreaking brilliance that has distinguished all of your public service endeavors. Your innovative lawsuits have won landmark damage awards that have succeeded in crippling some of the country's most notorious white supremacist hate groups, notably the Ku Klux Klan and the Aryan Nations. You have authored 3 compelling books, one being your own autobiography, in which you assess the country's segments of hate and delineate the imperatives that must drive the eradication of them. Your incredibly fruitful work has been widely and frequently recognized and cited. You were named one of the 100 most influential lawyers in America by the National Law Journal and Trial Lawyer of the Year by the Trial Lawyers for Public Justice. You received the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Award from the National Education Association and the Salem Award for Human Rights and Social Justice. An annual Morris Dees Justice Award was jointly created by your alma mater, University of Alabama, and the New York law firm Skadden Arps to honor a lawyer devoted to public service work. Because you have made it your mission to champion the powerless and the vulnerable in our society, the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth is immensely honored to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa on this 15th day of May in the year of 2017. Trustee Collins and Burns, President Mian, Interim Chancellor Helm, I have the honor to present Morris Dees for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Morris Dees, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Massachusetts, we confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. In accordance with the usual custom and in token of our great esteem, we award you this diploma and invest you in the hood of Doctors of Laws. Congratulations. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to invite Morris Dees to address the class of 2017.
Well, thank you very much for this honorary degree. I owe that to not just the work that I've done, but the work that the 50 lawyers that work for us and now at the Law Center. Many went to from this school, this area, and those many who come in the past, because we work as a team. I want to thank the parents and family of the graduates, and I want to thank the graduates and this college for having me come up today to speak with you and say a few, hopefully, words of wisdom. I would like to take that certificate, though, and I would return it back to the university if I could take one of your seats. At your age, to begin a law practice. I was trying to think, well, why did I become a lawyer? I was born in 1936 in Alabama on a small cotton farm, and I went to a rural school, and I think there's probably a teacher there, Mrs. Verabelle Johnson, who had a lot to do with me being a lawyer. She'd take us out in front of that little school. Only about 75 kids went there. It's closed now. And we would raise the flag. And we'd put our hands on our hearts, and we'd pledge allegiance. And I remember words that stuck with me from that pledge, words I repeated many times, words that we said in that class. One nation with liberty and justice for all. Well, there wasn't much that Mrs. Johnson could do about segregation, I never went to an integrated school. 1936 is a long time ago. And I was 12 years old when we was making that pledge. But this lady in this small community spoke out as much as she could. And you'd have to understand the pressure, speaking out for the rights of minorities, saying that they probably wasn't being treated fairly. Well, that kind of got me thinking, maybe I could do something about that. My family were poor cotton farmers, and they didn't speak out a lot, but they were good people. So I decided that I'd see about getting in law school. And somebody handed me a book. Actually, it was a book written by a man from Massachusetts. His name was John Adams. Most of you probably know John Adams. He was a famous citizen of this United States, and he had a brother named Samuel, a cousin Samuel Adams, who wanted to revolt from England. And a case came up for this young lawyer outside of Boston, John Adams, and a man had gotten caught with a boatload of wine that he didn't want to pay England the tax on it. And so they arrested him, and he came into the harbor that night. They put him in jail, they took his boat, and they charged him with a crime that would put him in the penitentiary. And he turned to John Adams, the year was about 1772. He turned to John Adams and said, "Please help me." Well, Adams went to work as a good trial lawyer, and maybe the judges had a little bit of feeling about what the people were thinking, so he got this man out, freed him. The name of that boat was called Miss Liberty, and the man who was driving the boat was somebody you may or may not know. His name was John Hancock. Well, things went along, and the people of this state especially, and the other New England states, I guess you'd call this a Commonwealth, became a little bit concerned about wanting to break away from England. And so they began to organize, and a whole crowd of them gathered in Boston Commons to have a demonstration. But as what the time would be, they were drinking and had some rocks and bottles. They began to throw them. And the British police, 5 or 6 guys, they were nice people. I mean, they were just trying to keep the peace. They tried to stop this big mob. Well, it ended up into a riot, and the British police shot into the crowd and killed several of those marchers. You know that as the Boston Commons. Well, the governor of this appointed by the king here said, we better have a little prosecution here because, you know, I'm worried too about this country, and maybe we can satisfy people. So they indicted Captain Preston, indicted him and some of the 8 other guys for murder. He figured he'd have no trouble finding a good lawyer to represent them. So he sent his prosecutor out to the firms that represented the companies that were trading with England. Well, it just so happened that most of the lawyers at these companies had a conflict of interest. They didn't want to get involved either. Well, that was a bad situation, charging this guy with murder, and he had no good lawyer, so they sent for John Adams. And John said, well, I know about the case. I know y'all want me to take this case, but I got to go talk to my people about it. So he goes back and he talks to his cousin Samuel Adams and others, and they said, man, this is an unpopular case. Don't touch this case. You got a chance to be a leader in this country. Don't touch this case because we want to make those British redcoats look bad. Well, Adams took the case. He thought it was a good case for self-defense, and he put on a good case, and the jury found all those people not guilty. And a historian was writing about this case, and it said that Adams' brilliant summation revealed his awareness of the personal potential risk of him taking this case. And he declared that if he could save only one life, the blessings and tears of that one person would be for him a sufficient consolation for the masses. And Adams, in his own autobiography, made a statement that you need to listen to. And because to me it was so impressive, and I hadn't even gotten in law school yet. He said that his defense of Captain Preston and those British soldiers was one of the best pieces of service he ever rendered his country, because he made sure that the rule of law, not the rule of the mob, would be used in our nation. And Adams made a statement in his biography that he thought that that was the greatest pieces of service he ever rendered his country. And you know, he was elected our second president. Dr. Martin Luther King said that in this great, wonderful nation of the United States of America, there are lonely islands of poverty and injustice. Dr. King was coming along when I was graduating from high school. And I think we would find out today there are also lonely islands of poverty and injustice. And the speakers that have gone before me today have given you a great commencement because they talked about these issues, and you know what they are. I could continue on and talk about the cases that we've done. I've had a case representing Vietnamese fishermen, people who came over after the Vietnam War, a war that we lost. And they were frowned upon because people didn't know who to trust. But I represented them and got them the right to fish in Galveston Bay, Texas. It was a horrible case that boats were burned by members of the Klan and others. And after winning that right to get them the right to fish, I was invited down to the blessing of their fleet. They had put their boats up for sale, but the federal court ruled they had the right to fish. And as I was there that early morning at 5 in the morning, when the boats are fixing to come out through Clear Creek Channel out into the bay, you could hardly see. There were about 50 people at the dock, the Vietnamese families, wishing good luck to their fishermen. I couldn't hear any boats or see any until finally we heard a diesel engine chugging. It came by the stand there, and the Catholic priest blessed the boat, and another one, until about 15 or 20 boats had gone out. As the sun began to rise, I could see the sun glistening off the badges of the United States Marshals, the police force of the federal courts, sent there to ensure these people got to use our rights. And as I looked down in their faces, I could see an enormous amount of pride. As these new Americans, these immigrants, found their place at America's table. Not just finding a place, but like millions of immigrants who came before to help make this into a greater nation. And as you go out to engage in the practice of law, a wonderful profession, probably started by the Magna Carta in 1215, but carried on, and you have the duty. There are injustices today, but I hope that you will remember the words from the biblical prophet Amos, words that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King picked up and used in his famous speech in Washington, and words that I hope that you will truly live by when you have unpopular and difficult matters that need your time, no matter what you're doing with your life, that you could step forward. Dr. King said, quoting Amos, "Let's not be satisfied. Let's not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream." Thank you so very much.
I hope you heard him. I hope you will live that. Thank you, Morris Dees. Now I'm pleased to welcome back Eric Mitnick, Dean of the Law School, who will announce the Law School Awards.
Thank you, Chancellor. I am pleased now to announce a number of awards to some of our amazing students. In truth, I would like to single out each of our talented graduates. These specific awards may be presented to individual students, but they also reflect generally on the strengths and efforts of all of our graduates here today. As I announce the name of each award recipient, I ask that you stand until all of the awards have been announced. I am happy to announce 2 academic achievement awards to the full-time and part-time students with the highest grade point averages. This year, they go to full-time student Donald C. Arthur, MD, and part-time student Christina Elizabeth Aruda. Next, I am pleased to announce the Dean's Service Award, which is given to a student in recognition of their service to the University of Massachusetts School of Law. The recipient this year is Rebecca Lacoste. Our law school mission emphasizes service to the community, to the profession, to the Commonwealth, and to the nation. All of our students are required to complete a certain number of hours of pro bono public service. Each year, we honor a student whose pro bono activities have surpassed even our rigorous requirement. This year's recipient of the Pro Bono Award, who did more than 500 hours of pro bono service, is Casey J. Christo. And I can tell everyone here today that this graduating class of 49 students, each of whom was required to do at least 30 hours of pro bono service, averaged over 100 hours of pro bono service for a total of 7,000 hours of legal pro bono service to the community. The St. Thomas More Award goes to a law student whose accomplishments in some way represent the principles and ideals of St. Thomas More. This year's recipient is Ethan Aaron Dizell. The Student Bar Association Honorable Francis L. Larkin Amicus Award is given to a graduating student in recognition of their uncommon dedication and service to students in the law school. This year's recipient is Angela Marie McDonough Ting. Next, I am pleased to announce the winner of the Thurgood Marshall Social Justice Award, which is given to a student who has demonstrated a strong commitment to social and economic justice. This year's winner is Jessica L. Cruzati Flavius. I would also like to draw everyone's attention to page 6 in your printed program. Here we have listed the names of students whom we honor for other reasons, for their participation in the Dean's Fellows Program, for their work on the Law Review Board, for their contributions as servants of justice, for their work as leaders for justice, and for being a Public Interest Law Fellowship recipient. Congratulations to all of you. Trustee Collins and Burns, President Mian, Interim Chancellor Helm, and Provost Kareem, I present to you the candidates for the Juris Doctor degree at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. For this portion of the program, we will read the names of the degree candidates and recognize them as they walk across the stage. The students will pause in front of me to receive their ceremonial scrolls. They will then move forward to be hooded by Professor Cleary. This hooding ceremony symbolically recognizes the students' success in completing their law school studies. The students will then be congratulated by President Mian, Interim Chancellor Helm, and Provost Kareem. After walking, the candidates will return to their seats. Once we have read all of the names, we will officially confer the degrees earned by each student. We ask that all students remain seated until the culminating moment of our ceremony today.
Christina Elizabeth Aruda. Donald C. Arthur, MD. Lisa M. Azar. Susan Elizabeth Beelan. Nicholas C. Butland. Felicia Lee Carboni. Jasmine S. Carnegie. Olivia C. Cataldo. Mary W. Chafee. Stephen Connor Chamberlain. Casey J. Christo. Terry Evelyn Chung. Randall J. Collette. Patrick J. Kramer.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Ethan Aaron Dazell. Diana Holly DeQuatro. Melissa E. DeMoulin. Ashley Elizabeth Gustafson. Griffin F. Hanrahan. Emmett Caden Hardiman. Rhiannon Lee James. Dawn M. Kelleher. Rebecca Lacoste. Nadine Lemore. Sheila Lures. Sheila J. Mambalur. Bryce Lukens. Caitlin M. Magnan. Joseph A. Marino IV. Jennifer Mello Mason. Erin McAndrews. Ryan Manuel Medeiros. Valentine M. Mello. George Louis Mesmar. Kathleen Ann Monahan. Julian Alexander Cabral Pinto. Kendall M. Poirier. Aaron G. Russo. Michael J. Silva. Nicholas A. Spath. Justin James Sullivan. Erica Gloria Sylvia. Lauren E. Sylvia. Peter Gregory Thomas. Angela Marie McDonough Tiang. Thaddeus C. Terrell.
Would the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please rise? Trustees Collins and Burns, President Mian, Interim Chancellor Helm, and Provost Kareem, standing before you are the students who have completed the Juris Doctor program. They have each merited the conferral of the degree. I recommend each of these candidates for the conferral of the Juris Doctor degree.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Massachusetts, we confer upon you the degree of Juris Doctor, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
You may be seated. And congratulations. Now, I'm about to declare the conclusion of this ceremony, but lest there be an unseemly stampede, I want to remind you that there will be a recessional, and then before leaving, Julie Cahill will give you additional directions. So, I now declare these University of Massachusetts Dartmouth School of Law commencement proceedings to be concluded.